Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to CL's YT channel for MBA aspirants. We are on our seventh RC set, must do questions for CAT. As you know, in this session, I take easier passages, but we attempt questions which are similar to CAT. Let me just put on your chat, say something so that I know if the chat is on. Um, okay. All right. Give me a thumbs up or something so that I know that you can hear me, see me clearly, and yeah. All right. Okay. As you know, I choose editorials from various newspapers, mostly the Hindu, and we try to use those editorials to look at CAT type questions for reading comprehension. All right. I still can't see any chat from y'all. Any hi, hello, thumbs up, something to let me know my chat is working or not. All right, today's passage is on an interesting topic, something that is currently being discussed in a few newspapers, and it is about 454 words long, so it's about the same length as your cat passage. I'll give you 45 seconds to read each slide, then I'll explain, summarize the passage for you, and then we will look at the questions. All right. So if you're ready to start, let's start. Let me put the timer on. Start. Is anyone done reading? Because your 45 seconds are up. I'm still giving you 15 more seconds. I'm moving to the next slide. Again, I'll give you about 45 seconds before I start explaining and summarizing the passage. I want you to summarize it in the same way that I will do it in class. Okay? Good afternoon. Hello, Arun. All right. So your 1 minute for the next slide is done. Let's quickly summarize what the passage is about. Now, what is the topic of the passage, which is very different from the main theme, right? The topic is overall the broad subject, alternative medicines and misleading advertisements. If you had to look at just two words, right? How they are bypassing laws, how they are evading laws, how they are putting up misleading advertisements, and the court's frustration. It's not able to stop this. Okay, let's quickly read. On August 27th, the bench of the Supreme Court of India found itself reaching once again for idioms over a matter involving misleading advertisements of Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani products. So it found itself in a funny situation that it had to deal with a matter of misleading advertisements of Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani products, alternative medicines. Earlier this year, the bench had concluded proceedings against Patanjali Ayurveda over its defiance of an order to not publicize, let me just put the volume down, to not publicize, good afternoon, Viraj. Uh, yeah, okay. I'm in the middle of the explanation, but yeah, okay. So the court had earlier given a verdict. 27th is the second time it's finding itself, or maybe more than the second time, that it's finding itself in a situation where it's having to deal with misleading advertisements. Earlier, it had to act. I'll show it to you for 1 minute because none of you reacted. You can read it now. LB, what's your name? All right. Viraj, 45, 1 minute, 1 minute to 1 minute, 15 seconds. If you guys are with me, you can now read it as I'm explaining it. All right. 1 minute, I will show it to you. Because when I started the class, there were just two people who did not respond. So I said, let me at least summarize it so some people would get interested. All right. You're not too slow. Don't worry. All right. So, first paragraph says, second time it found itself dealing with misleading advertisement. What was the first time? Patanjali Ayurved, and court ordered it to publish a media advertisement apologizing for its actions. All right. So, what happened is that the response of the state bodies to the company, to a Patanjali Ayurveda, is still evolving. But the Supreme Court's own verdict seems to show a belief that we've done everything we could, and it's very frustrated. So, its current ire. Ire means anger, irritation against the Ministry of Ayush in a particular light. All right. Second, so basically what the passage is saying, the first paragraph, is these alternative medicine advertisements claim unproven or unprovable medicinal claims they are making. Eat a root, cancer will get cured. Drink this water, you will be cured of blood pressure and diabetes, those kind of things, which cannot be proved. And people are believing them. So those are misleading. So the court had once already told Patanjali to apologize through an ad, tell all the people, look, the claim we made is false. Again, second time it had to do this. And it is therefore very frustrated. India's drug manufacturers and regulators are caught between ensuring high quality, which leads to higher manufacturing costs, while keeping consumer prices down so that the patients can access the drugs they need anywhere, anywhere, right? Quality, you have to pay for it. But here, when you are a poor country like India, everyone has to access medicines. So you have to keep consumer prices low, and manufacturers, regulators, especially of medicines, are caught in this trap. Unfortunately, neither regulators nor manufacturers have navigated this tension in the patient's favor. If they had navigated it in the patient's favor, they would have kept the cost down, but they've not. All right. The Ayush Ministry's actions have further complicated this scenario by allowing businesses to register all sorts of projects as Ayurveda. So there are a lot of benefits, tax benefits, if you call it Ayurveda, as illustrated in the case of its license and later cancelled to a Bengaluru based company to sell milk as Ayurvedic proprietary medicine. It's milk. How are you selling milk as Ayurvedic proprietary medicine? So, first it gave a license to a company, then it took it back. By attempting to evade existing quality rules. Who is doing all this? Not the ordinary man, the Ayush Ministry. The health ministry itself is doing all this. By attempting to evade existing quality rules, there are certain rules, quality control for medicines, for drugs, but it is evading them, it's avoiding them. Evade means to avoid. Why is it doing? Presumably, maybe, probably, to grease the wheels of a business. What is greasing the wheels? When you grease something, grease the wheels, what happens? It runs smoothly. So, just to make businesses run smoothly, the ministry is also just giving licenses, is very lax, there are no regulations. All this is leading to the frustration of the Supreme Court. Next, while the ministry's cynical attempt now to sidestep Rule 170 of the Drugs and Cosmetics Rule 1945, what is this Rule 170 of the Drugs and Cosmetic Rule 1945? Penalize misleading advertisements. And the ministry has tried to evade this rule also. The court confronts an old tendency in a new disguise. So, what is the assumption here? What is the author implying here? Earlier, also, it has this tendency. If there is a rule, we can avoid it. Rules can be bent, right? There we have rules. Rule 170 of Drugs and Cosmetics, there you have to penalize any misleading advertisements of Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani products. It's laid down, but the ministry has sidestepped it. So the code is again facing the same problem, that the ministry has this problem. Not maybe the present members, the earlier health ministry, it just has a new form now. Public apologies and post facto action. What's a post facto action? Action that happens after something that happens after an action event has happened by regulatory bodies may have been the end of the line against one company. The court may also seem sated. Sated means satisfied by a demand, as it's spelled out in its May 7th order, that all advertisers self declare that they will not publish misleading advertisements. All right. So, action by regulatory bodies may have worked against one company. The court also may have been satisfied by one demand, that you guys should not publish any misleading advertisements. But similar concessionary measures will falter against a ministry. You can do it against a company, but you can't do it against the health ministry itself. So here the problem is, we have companies doing wrong things, and we have the health ministry which is also evading laws. So the court is having a tough time. All right. Medicine quality, and I will show you the first slide. Okay, this is not the first slide, this is the first slide. Okay, Arun, I'll show it to you. Medicine quality and manufacturer information are disuniform. Now remember, this is an old word for lack of uniformity. Nobody uses this, but this particular editor seems to have used it. I don't know from where I picked it. I pick it up from the Hindu. I'm not sure. I think Statesman or Hindu. Yesterday or day before, I got bored. I said, again, Israel Palestinian conflict, no. Hamas, no. This thing, Ukraine, no. I wanted something different. So I did something different. And in that, I've forgotten from which paper I have taken it. All right. I have an editor who writes disuniform. I haven't seen this word for a long time. We know what it means, lack of uniformity, more so in the alternative medicine space, and regulating advertisements has emerged as a last ditch backstop. What's the last ditch effort? What India does? Last over, don't need to hit three sixes. Attempt, the final attempt, desperate attempt to do something. A backstop is like a reinforcement. So regulating advertisement is the ultimate attempt. Everything else has failed, so now you have a final reinforcement display. At least let us stop them uh, publishing misleading information against bad products. First major problem is that there are bad products entering the market. You have to stop that. But instead, what the court and is trying to do is, at least if I can't do that, let me try to stop misleading ads. In the face of progressively weakening protections against what is ultimately fake medicine, the most preferred outcome in the present matter would be for the courts to look at past declarations. So, author is saying this is not going to work. So, what is the author saying? Look, protections against fake medicines are weak. In India, we don't have proper protection against uh, false medicine. So, in the face of this situation, when you are in this situation, one thing you can do is look at past declarations, whether self made or otherwise, and rectify the quality control regime. Rectify, correct that. Make sure there is quality control. Instead of regulating ads, that is also there, but instead of that, look at quality control, particularly to empower it, protect it from political capture, and bring alternative medicines under its purview. Purview means jurisdiction or area of influence. All right, so quickly going back to the passage, Supreme Court found itself again in a case which involved misleading ads. Earlier, it had taken a case against Patanjali Ayurveda where it asked the company to give an apology for false advertisements about claims of unproven claims about its medicine. The court is angry and frustrated with the health ministry. Second, it says that the ministry has allowed licenses, allowed companies to come up with bad products and to come up with misleading ads. The ministry has evaded rules against misleading advertisements. Public apologies may have worked against one company. The court may be satisfied if companies self declare that they are not doing anything, but you will not succeed when against a ministry. You can succeed against a company. Similar concessionary measures. These are concessionary measures. You made a mistake. You have given a wrong ad, right? Saying that you have this particular medicine, your some terminal illness will be cured. You drink this particular thing, and you'll be cured of all your ailments. You'll be strong in 2 days. These claims, the court has asked companies to apologize publicly, right? Regulatory bodies will take action after the event is over. Advertisement is there, product has already been sold in the market, and then the regulatory body can come into action and say you can't do it. This can work against a company like Patanjali, Siddha, Unani Products, any company. But when the ministry itself is doing such things, giving licenses, not following rules, what do? They don't. They don't work. That's what the author is saying. Got it? Question one. Which one sums up the main theme of the passage? I'll give you guys about a minute. Will that do? LB, what's your name actually? I'm calling you LB only in the, okay, 45 seconds or 1 minute to read the options. Your concessions, where company has done a wrong, a concessionary measure, it has said is okay, at least apologize. That's a concessionary measure. It will work against a company, but what do you do when a ministry gives licenses, when a ministry allows companies to do a lot of mistakes? That's what he's saying. Measures, like here the court has demanded an apology. What will an apology in the press do, man? All that Ayurveda Patanjali had to do was put up an ad saying I will not do it. Puneet, okay. That kid in Pune, right? 200-word essay, exactly. After he was given burger, everything, the whole thing. Yeah. Any influence, the kid had taken alcohol or not, nobody knows. All right, question one, correct answer. Viraj thinks it's D. For a minute, it looked like Virat. I said, Virat Kohli in my class. No. Only one answer so far. Guys, which one is the main theme of the passage? Is it option A, no regulation and quality control of alternative medicines in India? B, courts in India are powerless to protect consumers against false ads? C, the Ministry of Ayush has been grossly negligent in its duty in enforcing quality standards, or the regulatory framework in India is inadequate in ensuring quality and authenticity of alternative medicines and their advertisements. All the options are correct, but only one gives the entire thing correctly, right? First one, he didn't say there are no regulations. There are some regulations, right? There are some kind of quality control measures, but they're not working. Okay, so this is a slightly extremely worded option. And plus, it doesn't cover the part of misleading ads. Courts in India are not totally powerless. They are attempting to do something, right? They are feeling frustrated because they're not able to, but they're making some effort. So again, powerless is an extreme word, and it's only talking about the role of the courts, doesn't talk about regulatory regulation, doesn't talk about inadequate quality control, doesn't talk about misleading ads. The Ministry of Ayush has been grossly negligent. We agree with it, but not necessarily. It has not done its duty. It has given licenses. It has evaded, sidestepped. It has done all that. Totally, grossly negligent is also a very strong word. So one which captures all: lack of adequate regulatory framework, lack of quality control, lack of the presence of false products or authenticity, lack of authenticity, and misleading ads is D. So the one that completely sums up the main theme is D. Okay. Now, as we go further, I'll start giving you main themes which are closer, not this easy. Okay, but get the idea of the main theme should cover all the key points. All right. Okay, question 2. Which of the following cannot be inferred about the Ministry of Ayush? Which of the following cannot be inferred? I'll again give you about 45 seconds to a minute. Viraj says it's C. What about the others? Arun, Puneet, Shrestha, C. Any other answer? Give me the question number next time. All right. First one cannot be inferred. The Ministry of Ayush has contributed complicating the matters further. This can be inferred. So this is not a right answer. The ministry had allowed lax. Lax means a lenient. Okay, registration practices and attempted to bypass existing quality law regulations. This cynical attempt to bypass the law, it said. So this can be inferred. So this is not a correct answer. We're looking at what cannot be inferred. The court and ministry are in cahoots. When you say two people are in cahoots, that means working together. Arun, the answer is which one cannot be inferred, not which one can be inferred. So can you say that the court and ministry are working together? No, actually, the court is against the ministry. The court is reprimanding the ministry. Why are you allowing so many licenses? Why are you bypassing the law? It's frustrated, it's angry. So you can't say they are working together. Maybe in secret. No, that's being very cynical. All right, the ministry might be circumventing. Circumventing means evading, avoiding enforcement of quality and advertising standards. The author clearly says the ministry is doing all this. It's evading, it's bypassing. Why it's doing it, God knows. Therefore, that is correct. But you can't say the court and the ministry are working together to do this. Therefore, the correct answer is C. All right. But similar concessionary measures will falter against the ministry. What concessionary measures is the author referring to? Whenever you get the quote from a passage, any quote, even if you know the answer, the smart thing to do will be to go back and read where that has been given, right? Here, this entire paragraph mentions, right? There is a rule that you cannot give misleading advertisements. You should penalize misleading advertisements. They should be punished. Any company which shows misleading ads should be punished. Public apologies and post facto action by regulatory bodies. So public apology, which Patanjali had to do, issue a public apology. I will first sell my product, saying this is going to cure you of all your illnesses. Then somebody brings a case against it in the court, and the court doesn't know what to do, so it says, okay, issue a public apology. So or sometimes regulatory body takes action after the whole event is over, right? It may be the end of the line against one company, it may stop one company. The court also may seem satisfied by the demand that all advertisers self declare they will not publish any misleading advertisement. So easy. I can just put up an ad saying we will not publish misleading advertisement, and then go ahead and do it. So, what is the concessionary measure he's talking about? The line before it, correct? Self declaring that they will not publish misleading advertisements. All right, that is the concessionary measure. It will work against a company, but how will you work against a ministry? You can't ask the ministry not to do it, and the ministry is going on doing what it wants. That's what the author is saying. So, what concessionary measure is the author talking about? More licenses, self declaration, reduction of penalties, or all of the above? We read the line, obviously, it is self declaration by uh, the advertisers. We will not publish any lies. All right. And they had come up with that very nice article which said, hand wash, dishwasher, say juice of real lemons. Okay. And the juice that they actually sell for us to put edible juice, lemon flavored, says artificial ingredients added. Nothing. They found that soaps, ice cream, they I think, except Vadilal, they had done a raid many years back. It came as a case study in one of the XLRI. Uh, falter means to not succeed, to fail. All right. So such measures will fail. Falter means fail against the ministry. But here he is asking what is the meaning of a concessionary measure. And they found that many ice creams in India, because the current keeps going, coming, had a lot of bacteria, which is why sometimes you see very bad cases of food poisoning. When you have people who have, there'd be reports, people had kulfi, this ice cream, because when bacterial infected lactose products can cause a lot of problems to the stomach. All right, question 4. Which of the following is not implied in the opening sentence of the passage? So, what should we do now? We should go back to the opening sentence, even if you remove it, remember it. And we have to look at what is not implied. So, first go back to the opening sentence, read it. I'll give you uh, 30 seconds to read it. Otherwise, Puneet will ask, am I too slow? All right. 30 seconds to read the opening lines. Opening line is here. 30 seconds is too much, but still. 25. Okay. Okay, done. So you've read the opening lines. Which one cannot be in, is not implied in the opening sentence? Three options are implied. Which one is not implied? Again, read and tell me which one is not implied. Put the question number, question 4, and give me the answer A, B, C, or D. Now, this can be removed from here. Achha, let me just. Which one is not implied? Okay, let me get the other answers, please. Only two answers so far. Let's go back to the opening lines. What is the opening line saying? On August 27th, a bench of the Supreme Court found itself once again for idioms over a matter involving misleading ads of Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani products. So on 27th, it found itself reaching once again for idiom. So it found it had to go back to figurative language, to idioms, to resolve a case. And what was the case about? Once again, that means earlier also it has come against a case of misleading advertisements, right? So the Supreme Court is addressing an ongoing problem with traditional medicines. This is not, oh, this is not implied. It generally uses idioms. This is also not implied. So I've given you more than one correct. This is correct and this is correct. So two I have said. With ongoing, this should have been alternative medicines. This should have been alternative medicines. This has used metaphorical. It has found itself reaching for idioms. Idioms means figurative or metaphorical examples. It has to use figures of speech, figurative language. That means it's not able to give proper literal words because it's having a problem with dealing with this case. So it has is reaching towards idioms or figurative language or metaphor. Idioms are nothing but metaphorical examples. So this and this is correct. It generally uses idioms, we can't say. Okay, this word should not have been traditional medicine, should have been alternative medicines. Then A would have been correct, and then B would have been a correct answer. So this should not be traditional. This, I'm sorry, this should be alternative medicines. Because earlier also it did that in the case of Patanjali. Alternative are this Unani, Siddhi, and all that. Okay. Okay. What is the tone of the author in the passage? What is the author's tone in the passage? Is it objective? Is it critical? Is it disdainful or cynical? Objective means neutral. He has not, you can't figure out his personal, whether he is supporting, opposing, nothing. Critical is when he is evaluating a situation and pointing out the flaws. Disdainful means scornful, looking down on something. Cynical is negative. Okay, so which one is it? They are traditional, but they are called alternative medicines because, unfortunately, um, the regular mainstream medicines that you use are also part of traditional. So the word traditional is very misleading. Okay, if I had said alternative medicines, you could have easily come. The main medical stream, our main hospital, our main medical system is based on allopathic medicines, right? The entire medical system, for which you all have insurance, for which you have all kinds of things. So Ayurveda, Unani, Siddhi, all these are called alternative medicines. So traditional in one way, yes, but to call it traditional will become ambiguous. That I should have been more careful with that. He is cynical, but cynical is totally negative, or is he also evaluating and finding flaws? Which is a better word? B slash D are close. Is he saying nothing can happen about it, or is he looking at the situation and talking about this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do? He's coming up with suggestions. He's saying this is what the coach should do, this is what the coach should do. Therefore, critical is a better word than cynical. Cynical is when you just have a terribly negative outlook that nobody is good. Here, the author has a cynical attitude towards uh, certain companies, towards the Ministry of Ayush, but not necessarily towards the court, right? Therefore, B is a better word. All right. Okay. Last question of the set. The author is most likely to agree with which of the following options? Authors most likely to agree with which of these following options? The court feels that its actions have been insufficient to resolve the issue. Court's attitude is ambivalent towards the Ministry of Ayush. The court's verdict indicates a belief that the issue can be resolved with patience, or the court's verdict reflects its judiciousness and practical approach. Which one the author? So think of what the author's attitude has been with regard to the quotes. What has he said in the first paragraph and what has he said in the last paragraph? Last paragraph, he has offered some suggestions, right? Where he says, instead of just asking for an apology or regulations, you should put regulations, you should do this, you should do this. So, last paragraph, he has given some advice. Therefore, what is his attitude? Ambivalent means one sometimes supportive, sometimes negative. You understand? Ambivalent means pushed on both sides, vacillating. One side it's supporting, one side it's opposing. Is it ambivalent? Right from the first, let's look at the first paragraph. Let's look at the court's attitude about towards Ayush in the paragraph. First paragraph, the court is angry. It's ire against the ministry. So here it is angry with the ministry. Right? Second, he talks about how the ministry has allowed licenses and wrong things to happen, bad products to come in the market. Here, the court has not come into it. Third paragraph is it is trying to sidestep the court. The court may be satisfied by an order against a company, but it cannot work like this against the ministry. Again, the court is ineffective in dealing with the ministry's wrongdoings. Last part, he says that the court should look at past declarations from companies, and it should itself try to see that quality control regime is empowered, and alternative medicines come under the quality control regime. That part. So it's come up with what the court is doing now is not enough. So author is not satisfied with what the court is doing. Wait, where is my question? So court feels its actions have been insufficient. The court is frustrated. This works. That's why it's feeling it's frustrated. It has not been able to resolve the issue. All right. The court's attitude is ambivalent towards the Ministry of Ayush. No, there is no ambivalence. It's angry and it's frustrated. The court's verdict indicates a belief that the issue can be resolved. No, it says it has done everything it could, but that is why it's very frustrated. It doesn't show its judiciousness. The author doesn't believe so because he said it should empower the quality control regimes instead of just feeling satisfied with publishing apologies or whatever. Therefore, the first one is correct. A is the correct answer. All right. Okay. So now, next time, what we'll do is we'll have a main point question, but the main point question and the inference question will be little more difficult. We'll have direct questions where I'll check if you've understood how to read the passage. I start the session on time and end it on time because I have a class after this, a paid class. So I try to finish by 1:40 max. Okay, that's why even if there's one student, I know you'll watch the recording later, so I start. All right. So yeah, if you like the session, please press the like button and keep reading, keep summarizing what you read, and I will join you again next Saturday with another passage. The passage itself is not going to be difficult, but the questions will be patterned on CAT questions. All right. See you then next Saturday. Until then, keep reading. Stay safe. Bye.